So we are We Want Our Future, which is basically an outreach project. It is a nonprofit outreach project. It started at, as Ryan said, the University of Colorado in Boulder by a few grad students, but we do have a dedicated team that are situated all around the world. There we go, okay. So just an update, we're just going to be talking about what we've been doing so far. We've been restructuring our base and we've been expanding a lot. So what we do, we have a prepared lesson plan put together by ourselves and with the help of retired astronaut Joe Tanner, with a letter that he has written to the students, as well as kind of a presentation about exploration, inspiring students to kind of reach for their dreams. And the activity is to really draw what they're envisioning the future to be in space and write a little bit about that. Our postcard program is really to kind of inspire those around us, as well as to kind of see what our kids are envisioning. So far we've collected thousands of postcards from 35 US states and many countries around the world, including Japan, Norway, the Philippines, the Netherlands, and of course Canada. So we've expanded to 5 continents, of course Canada. But we need your help to reach the rest of the US states and of course all the other countries around the world. With that, we are focusing more on our international expansion. Matt will talk about this a little bit later, but we have a new director of international affairs, a position that was filled, and she will be helping us tremendously to outreach internationally. Our materials are in several languages, including English, Spanish, French, and Dutch, and currently we're working on translating to Japanese, Italian, Chinese, even Egyptian, and I'm Vietnamese, and so I'm going to have my dad translate our materials into Vietnamese as well. So lots of languages to choose from. And we've had a lot of international conference presence as well, including IAC in South Africa last year. It will also be in Naples this year, and we were just at GLEX here in DC last week, and of course ISTC here.
Thanks, Mylan. So as you mentioned, we've done some restructuring of our board of directors. The organization started kind of ad hoc, where volunteers just joined and tried to find a position that really filled their niche and what they do. But we've grown a lot in the last 2 years. Our organization's about 3 years old, and so we decided that that ad hoc structure isn't really working because of how large we're getting. So we went back and we coalesced our thoughts about the organization and really set some strategic plans and some goals, and we created a new board of directors structure based out of that. So the idea is that each position has set responsibilities that people can be held accountable to. Also, we realized that we wanted to diversify the organization. We are started by university students, so that's a strong part of our board, but we wanted to diversify out to international students and to industry. So for the second time ever, I guess last week we presented it first, I'd like to publicly present our new team, our new board of directors. Program founders Brad Cheatham and Bruce Davis will stay on as CEO and Director of Postcard Expansion. I'll round out the Executive Committee as Director of Operations. We're really happy to have John Herman from TU Delft in the Netherlands come on as our VP, and Andy Frick, recent GW grad, as our CFO. Undergraduate students at Colorado, Brendan Seifert and Chris Nye will be Director of Marketing and Partnerships, respectively. And Stacy Bagg from NASA Glenn will be our Director of Volunteer Relations. Laura Derridi is a space medical researcher at McGill University, is going to be our new Director of International Relations. And Jules Feldhacker, a CU graduate student, is going to be our event coordinator. So as you see, we're started at the University of Colorado. There's a lot of University of Colorado names on this list. There's a lot of students on this list, and we are a student organization, so we'd like to keep it that way. But we are really happy to diversify out and get Stacy from NASA, and both John and Laura, who are international citizens and have that international flair that they can bring to the team. So we're really excited about that. The question that I get asked the most about We Want Our Future is, what do you guys do with the postcards once you get them back? We do publish them online, and I think it's really awesome, and kids have really enjoyed going online to see their postcards, as well as seeing, just browsing through the postcards from all the other countries around the world and from different states. So that's been really good. But recently we've encouraged teachers to be more creative, get out there and do something fun and exciting with the postcards. This picture is from an elementary school in New Jersey, actually, and our teacher there is an art teacher for 3rd and 4th grade students. And after completing the program, she actually made this mural in a hallway in her school, and got other kids excited about it who just walked by the mural and they said, "Oh, like, can we do that? Like, what is that?" And so it was really exciting for us because we were able to get our program spread throughout the school just because of this creative use of our postcards. Also, you probably noticed that the border on this slide all the slides are actual postcards submitted by students, so pretty cool. So, what do these postcards say? Here's a word map of all the most common words used in our postcards. And some of the obvious ones that come up are space and moon and planet. But we're really excited that the word future is there, and think, and even some fun ones like basketball and school and walk. So a lot of kids that have some really cool ideas for the future, and I think it's neat to see that. So how can you get involved? Feel free to visit our website, wewantourfuture.org. We have these flyers in the chairs, so feel free to take a look at them to learn more about our organization. We encourage you to perform the activity yourself if you do any outreach at local schools or youth groups or anything like that. And if you want to volunteer on a higher level, feel free to contact us about becoming an assistant board member or even webmaster. We really need that webmaster position filled, so let us know. And let me and Mylon know if you have any more questions. Thank you. Yes, sir?
What grades?
So we've completed our program in K through 12, every grade, in elementary and middle and high school. But we really like to focus that K through 4, K through 5 grade. As Lance said earlier, you gotta catch them young, and we believe that we're the spark that lights the fire. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
We are at our panel, so I'd like to invite the entire panel to come up, and we're just going to set up, so just give us a few minutes for that, and we'll get it underway. So we've got what we're going to do is we're going to have each panel member come up, speak for 5 minutes about who they work for and what they're up to, and then we're just going to open it up to a couple first moderated questions and then Q&A with the audience. So I think you're really going to enjoy this set of short presentations. So first up, I'd like to invite Carrie Golding, who's at ThinkGeek, one of our partners for this event and helping us out make probably the best booth/lounge in town. And we'll be raffling away the ThinkGeek items afterwards. So without further ado, Carrie.
Hi, I'm Carrie Golden. I am the Web Community Manager for ThinkGeek.com. We're a small internet retailer based out of Fairfax, Virginia, and I've been asked to talk a little bit about how we share space with our fans and followers, which might seem a little weird coming from a retailer, but we really like space. We like space so much we have shirts about space. We have housewares from space. We have collectibles from space, and even the pizza cutter from space. This is the Star Trek Enterprise pizza cutter, which we'll be rattling off later. Just to give you a sense of our follower size, we have 520,000 followers on Twitter, about 280,000 on Facebook, 35,000 on G+, and about 2,000 on Pinterest, because it's a very small network right now. And over the years, I'm tweeting and Facebooking for ThinkGeek, I've learned that what works best for us in terms of content falls into about 4 main categories. The first one is timely and informative information. Newsworthy things that are happening in that moment are tied to a historical date. Second would be emotional and inspiring stories. Also, stories about our followers do very well. They like to see themselves in what we share. And entertaining or just plain funny posts that you want to share because they are shareable, funny things. An example of a timely and informative tweet would be this one from just last week when SpaceX's Dragon birthed with International Space Station for the first time. And I shared this quote from Don Pettit right after he had said it on the newscast. An inspirational tweet,
there's not much more inspirational story out there than retired astronauts walking Discovery down to the hangar at Ibarhazy last month. I was lucky enough to attend that tweet up, and moments later tweeted this photograph of Discovery and Enterprise meeting behind the hangar. At that event, I also met Amma. She is a young, inspired astronaut. She wants to go into space one day, and she was wearing this outfit. And I had to say hi because she was wearing the same outfit as Timmy, our mascot monkey. He's a lucky little guy. He gets to go to all kinds of events and launches around the country and the world. He's our little ambassador, and all of these are his mission pins. I'll shake him so you can hear. He's getting a lot of pins. They're even on his back now. This is an example of the kind of tweet that I like to share with our followers so that they can see each other. And Timmy comes back to us after his journeys with photographs like this from launches, or parties, or meeting astronauts. I said he was lucky. And he also likes to hang out with Camilla SDO. Camilla's the mascot of the Solar Dynamics Observatory, and they go way back, way back. This is how we found him at NASA Goddard a few years ago after they had taken him hostage. And if you can't tell from this image, we like to also use humor in our tweets. This next image is one that I shared on the day that Enterprise was ferried to New York City on the back of a 747. It's the Star Trek Enterprise rather than the actual Enterprise. This did very well on our Facebook streams. And then just last week there was the solar eclipse, which had this great engagement ring photograph. And we also like to celebrate greats in the field, like Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's a great image and kind of sums everything up, I think. And I know these work very well for our followers because we measure pretty much everything we put out there. I follow retweets, pluses, likes, favorites, and repins, as well as mentions, comments, and replies to measure engagement. Link clicks, obviously, image views when we use TwitPic. Site visits, page views, and conversions of our visitors to our website from things that we share, so I can see how well they're doing for us in terms of customers as well. And of course, followers, fans, plusers, and pinners, so we have a top line number to see if we're doing things correctly and our audience is growing. Just to give you a sense of how some of these more recent posts have done for us lately, this is the image of Enterprise and Discovery. I tweeted this through TwitPic on that afternoon. It got 15,000 views and about 400 plus retweets, which is pretty good for us. And then the Enterprise photo from Facebook got 287 likes and 1,700 shares, which is a good share to like ratio for us. That meant that they found it so valuable that they wanted to share it with their networks. And then the same image on G+ did even better compared to our audience with 2,000 pluses and 1,000 shares because it got boosted to G+'s public feed that went beyond our followers. And as you can tell from these numbers, space isn't a hard sell for us and our customers and our fans. But when you're talking about space, it's kind of hard to screw it up. It's an inspiring thing, and with all of our cultural references and the kind of things that we do, I think it's a natural fit. Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Victoria Partway from the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museums. And some of us were lucky enough to go to 2 events this week over the 2 conferences, and it's obviously fantastic facilities, and we're here a little bit about them.
Thank you. I'm head of Web and New Media Outreach at the National Air and Space Museum, and as you all probably know, we have 2 locations. You're going to see lots of shuttle photos, I think, in this entire thing. We have 2 locations, the one here downtown and the Stephen F. Ibarhazy Center in Chantilly, Virginia, where you can go see Space Shuttle Discovery. Has everyone gone there? Okay, go there, it's great. So I just wanted to share with you a little bit about how we do our social media and the things that we're up to. Obviously, you probably know that Smithsonian's mission is to increase and diffuse knowledge, and within that mission, the Air and Space Museum's mission is to commemorate, educate, and inspire in the areas of aviation, space flight, and planetary science. And our online outreach is intimately tied to that educational mission, and social media is a very important and growing way that we're achieving those goals. Inspire, I mean, there's a few pictures that are better at describing that. Museums are where people come to be inspired and learn. And also, it's where we can ignite their passions for technology and ultimately encourage them in fields of engineering and further. So basically, with social media, it gives us the ability to reach beyond our walls and really engage people in areas that they may not even have thought of. So guerrilla education, as it were. We can get people interested in things they may not have never heard of, beyond the enthusiasts who are here today who self-identify as space and aviation geeks. But we also can engage people in conversations more deeply than we have been able to in the past and encourage dialogue. So here's just a quick overview of the social platforms that we're on right now and our followers. We're kind of on a number of them, but mostly Twitter and Facebook are where we're most active.
What's the Facebook thing?
That's actually Flickr. The pink F is Flickr. So we have several groups on Flickr, and actually for Space Shuttle Discovery, that was one of our more popular ones. So one of our more mainstays of social media is our This Day in History tweets. So we, like ThinkGeek, will tweet timely information now, but also historical events, the people and pioneers behind them, and try and encourage folks to have a conversation about that, either with us or elsewhere, and share the links to our content so that they can learn more. One of our projects that I really enjoyed was this Relive Apollo 11 project, where we tweeted in real time the Apollo 11 mission 40 years after it happened, and people were able to actually follow it along and see what it was like for the astronauts, for mission control, and what was going on around the world at the time. And this actually sparked a lot of multi-generational conversations between young people who were not there when the moon landing occurred and their parents and grandparents who were there. Another aspect of our social media is to gain more access to our experts and the experts that come and visit our museum on a regular basis. One great example of this is we'll sometimes tweet live events or live lectures. We'll put out blog posts from our experts and they'll comment and respond. But more directly than that, our public observatory right now has their own Twitter feed, their own Ustream channel where they show live images of what they're viewing from the telescope on the mall. And they're gearing up right now for the transit of Venus, so hope for good weather. Yes, the observatory will have telescopes set up. Because of the position of the sun that day, they'll have telescopes set up by the entrance, not the actual dome. But yes, we will have live observing that day. So come on by. And then our other experts, whoops, I went backwards. Our other experts that we're hoping will become more engaged soon as our operations and our restoration hangar gear up, our collections and restoration folks who look like they're about to start some kind of action TV series in this photo. But that's when they were restoring the Enterprise back in 2004. And I'm sure everyone knows from the previous slides, and we'll see more, I'm sure. We started also encouraging building community and having deeper relationships with our followers by having in-person events where we invite followers to come and experience behind-the-scenes activities and public events like the arrival of Space Shuttle Discovery. And this was the first NASA social, so we were really happy to partner with NASA on that one. Actually, we partnered with NASA on our first tweet up several years ago for Sun Earth Day. So we've been doing our own as well. And our next one is June 16th, so you can sign up for that one this week. It's become a pilot day out at our Udvar Hazy Center. But in the course of doing these events, we've made some great friends, like Timmy up there. Timmy. So, and that all helps to have like-minded, education-focused folks around us. So we're really interested in engaging the folks who are interested in inspiring and educating others, and those are our key influencers. And so we invite you to join us and let us know how we can inspire you.
Our next panelists I've known for a while. We've got the International Space University alum kind of overlap and the X Prize overlap, of course. And so I'd like to invite Amanda up to Amanda Stiles, everyone from the X Prize and Google Lunar X Prize as well.
Thank you, Ryan. So my name is Amanda Stiles. I am with the Google Winter X Prize. And I just kind of wanted to give an overview of what we're doing at Google Winter X Prize with social media. We launched the prize back in 2007, and we're incredibly fortunate to have Google as a sponsor Since they are kind of a fun organization, they're obviously tied into the tech community. So from the very beginning, social media and online outreach was seen as a priority for this prize. And we actually started out with an embedded social media person, which was not really a common position back then. So Google really helped us kind of pioneer this type of position in the space industry in general, along with some of the great folks at NASA. And I think over the years, as you might have seen with a couple of the previous panelists, like we've all started forming partnerships and kind of going after this idea that like the rising tide floats all boats, and most people are interested in space. And you know, like it was mentioned before, it's kind of hard to fail. Like people really do love space. It's just a matter of getting it in front of them and putting it in front of them in a way that they can relate to. So for Google LinterX Prize, not only do we have our own social media person who works inside of our team, but our teams themselves actually have requirements in the rule set to blog and post YouTube videos, and then beyond that, they're also available on Facebook and Twitter. And some of them have pretty significant followings. I think our lead team right now is coming up on 100,000 fans on Facebook. If you're interested, they're our German team. They just got in town for our team summit, which actually starts today in Washington, D.C., and they're kind of photo documenting their journey through Washington, D.C. I think they were posting pictures of the Mustang they rented and things like that. And so I kind of wanted to go over a few things that I've learned over the years doing social media for Google LinterX Prize, and that kind of relates. A lot of people will come to us if they're just starting a community online in the space community, and they're kind of like, well, how do I even begin, or how do I build up my audience? And just a few things that I've learned over the years. First of all, if you're just starting out, you have to be patient. It takes a while to build up a following. Just make sure you cast your line out where the fish are. Meet good influencers like these folks on this panel and talk to them online. They will talk to you. They'll help promote you. Send them a note if you have an event coming up or something that you want seen. You can talk to us, of course, at GLXP on Twitter, or just Google LinterX Prize on Facebook. We're always happy to partner with people and help promote. Sometimes we allow people to guest blog on our blog, on our main page, and we really try to like promote each other, and I think that's true for everyone on this panel. Then also, when you're talking to people online, just make sure you have kind of a human touch. Respond to people if they ask you questions, and really try to show some emotion. Just don't put up a press release and a link, or just a link, which is even worse. Try to relate to people. I think some of my favorite tweets that have been coming out of SpaceX in the last few days have all been kind of experience type of tweets, and I think they've been really popular as well, such as like what it smelled like to get inside the Dragon, and you know, funny things like that. But people love that because they want to know what space is like, and I think those are some of the best ways to reach the public. Also, post lots of photos and videos. People love to see content. Those are always our most popular posts. We actually just posted a picture from an ISDC gathering the other night of someone who had a Virgin Galactic DNA tattoo on their back. And it's probably one of our most popular posts we've ever posted on our Google LinterX Prize Facebook page. People loved that picture. They thought it was really cool. So just find random things that people can relate to and think are cool, and post those. And then make sure you post consistently. Don't kind of drop off the face of the planet for a few months and then try to get back to it. Try to make a schedule for yourself that is realistic, but you know, be present so people don't forget about you. And then make pop culture references and tie into events and things that are happening. And again, just relatable things. And then, of course, it always helps to give things away. You'd be amazed at the power of a sticker. People do all kinds of things for that. And if you have cool stuff like Think Geek does, it's all the better. So those are just a few points and tips that I've learned over the years from building a community. Like I said, if you guys are ever interested in partnering, or you want a guest blog, or you want to like talk to us further, feel free to find us online, or come talk to me after the panel. I'm always glad to talk to folks about this. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Our next speaker, I know maybe too well. He's going to be talking to you about our media presence at Yuri's Night. So I'd like to invite Bryce Russ to the podium.
All right, thank you very much. Yep, thank you to everyone for coming, and thanks for Ryan for inviting me to be on this panel. My name is Bryce Russ, and so I have a few minutes here. So I'm going to talk about a few of the different social media hats I wear, not just for Yuri's Night, but for other couple of different groups, and how each of those are giving me a unique perspective on how to do social media and how to learn about social media, both in education and outreach and in general. So I am the assistant director for Yuri's Night and also the chair of the media team, and since we haven't had a chance to talk about Yuri's Night that much today, and we're co-sponsoring it, so we should do that. Yuri's Night is basically the World Space Party. It's a global celebration space. I'm gonna stop hitting that. A global celebration space held around the world around each April 12th in celebration of Yuri Gagarin's first flight into space, the first man in space on April 12, 1961, but also the first launch of NASA's space shuttle on April 12, 1981. So on April 12th, starting in 2001 and going on through then, going on through this year, we've had hundreds of events all over the world. In 2012, we had events in 51 countries, all 7 continents, Antarctica, NASA centers, you have South Pole, backyard barbecues, college campuses, pretty much everywhere getting together to celebrate space. Our sort of iconic Yuri's Night picture, this is a picture from Yuri's Night Bay Area, which was held in NASA Ames in 2007, held for a few years, tens of thousands of people going to Moffett Field and, you know, dancing and having fun, but also not just celebrating space, but also trying to educate people about space as well. So a party may be something like a day of space symposium, like a meeting like the NSS or something, and then going on to watch a movie or something in the evening, or maybe having a night of dancing and then a stargazing party and astronomy on the side. So it's about combining celebration, combining education to get people, especially people who may not be the space folks, the diehard space fans like us here, getting them out to a party, but also showing them about how awesome space is. So I run the media team for Yuri's Night. This includes social media, so we have a pretty diverse presence because it's an entirely online organization. We try and get the word out through Facebook and Twitter. We have a growing YouTube presence. We also try and use services like Flickr and Posterous, the microblogging platform, which we use for this program called Yuri's Night Live, where we basically have events send in pictures and reports from their Yuri's Night events all around the world, where you can go on Posterous and automatically upload them and get the word out about how great Yuri's Night was in San Diego or Moscow or Tokyo or what have you. Okay, I don't know what happened there. Anyway, but I do want to make sure to note that Yuri's Night, the media team for Yuri's Night isn't just me. We have a lot of great folks who are really contributing and helping, and that's something that's essential. If you have a lot of people who can, promote the Yuri's Night message and stay on target, then they can really help you out. So Rick Hanton, who is not here, I'm afraid, he's our actual social media director. I'm the media team director as a whole. Jeff, our master of electrons, has been doing some great stuff. And of course, Ryan, our executive director, has been helping me out with Yuri's Night this weekend, especially this weekend, because my second hat is I help out chairing the social networking committee for the National Space Society for the NSS. So the NSS, the SNC, their job is to maintain the NSS's presence on social media. So Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn primarily. We're like any good space advocacy organization. Everyone who's working for the SNC is doubly and triply committed, so it's tough to get everything updated on time. So we're just focusing on a few sources right now, but if you want to help out or get in touch and see how you can help the NSS with social networking, definitely get in touch with me afterwards. We'd love to have you. So the NSS, our Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn presences are mostly to share NSS news and announcements. We're working on making it more interactive, working on creating more information, but it's also one of the best ways the NSS can actually provide outreach to non-NSS members. So the NSS, obviously, we have services like Ad Astra and Downlink, our newsletter, that we use to communicate within the NSS, but through Facebook we can share with the NSS creating new initiatives, new programs, new projects, and hopefully get people interested in joining or becoming more active in the NSS. My final thing that I want to talk about is those are some of the volunteer opportunities that I do with Yuri's Night in the NSS, but in my day job, I'm a PhD student at The Ohio State University in the Department of Linguistics, and I study linguistic approaches to social media and language and the internet and so on and so forth. So I'm still in the early stages of projects, so I'll really help out the space industry specifically. I've done work, for example, on doing things like studying dialect variation using Twitter, so different dots, seeing where people say pop versus soda versus Coke, people who say pop, Do we have any people who say pop or soft drink in here from the Midwest or somewhere a bit further north? All right, yeah, Canada definitely yellow. The pop for the yellow people, Coke for the red people, blues everyone else. So looking at I'm with you. I'm from North Carolina, so I hear you there myself. So a couple things that we learn as linguists and as students of linguistics, sociolinguistics, is that knowing your audience is really important for any sort of communication, and that definitely includes social media. Everyone has their own way of perceiving language, of producing language, of understanding what you mean when you say something, and so knowing who your audience is, not just in terms of different social class, demographic factors, but knowing what what site you're posting on. People will do things like post to Facebook and Twitter simultaneously, and that can really have some issues with how your word gets out, because posting on Twitter is totally different from posting on Facebook and knowing how that goes. I'm running a bit behind, so I'll just go ahead and wrap this up. I've also done a little bit of work with social advertising, because I'm sure communities folks have, so hopefully I can answer some questions on that, but that's about all I got right now. Thank you very much. Feel free to send me an email, get in touch with me on Twitter, get in touch with me afterwards, and appreciate it.
Thank you, Bryce. If you guys have any questions about Erie's Night, also Tim Bailey's in the room, another of our assistant directors, so we'd be more than happy to chat about it and how we can get you involved and get your local cities and involved as well. So our fifth panelist has had a lot of experience with NASA in terms of the media presence and social media, and I had the pleasure of meeting her, I think, at the SCS 132 tweet up. So I was one of the participants. So I'm a tweet up alum, and it was a great experience, obviously, and addictive experience, because I went back for every single shuttle flight after in different ways. I don't know, somehow I ended up as a press person, but I did what I had to do to be there, so it was important to witness history. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Bat Back from NASA.
Some of our original tweets are here, like right up on the front row and the second row. Thank you guys for sticking it out to hear from us. I think we're the best panel, probably. Okay. So I just want to share just a few real quick tips for what I've learned. The thing is, the story that we're always telling, I'm kind of amazed that we're still having this conversation. I've been using Twitter since 2007, and I'm still having conversations around me about what is the point, and I don't want to hear about what someone had for breakfast. Still hearing that, which is amazing. So the answer I always give people, the world's changing, kind of get with it. It's here. Social media is here. So the other thing is, in the world of corporate communications, which I live in that world at NASA, by the way, I work at NASA, sorry, and my job is to tell a story about humans in space. I work in the Human Exploration and Operations Mission Directorate, so Bill Gerstmeyer, if you see his Twitter account, that's not real, by the way. The space Gerst is not real. So my job is to tell the story of space, and social media is one of the tools that we use. And I'm passionate about social media, and I'm an addict. So the conversation, though, when you're having with corporate communications or with universities, whoever, you really don't get it. I like to tell people this is my personal journey. My personal journey is to go from broadcast to engage. I mean, we used to just tell. Now we really have to bring people into the story. I personally evolved from the themes and messages, the elevator speeches that we still actually tend to do, but to experience-based. So it's not about having the talking points, but actually having the conversation. And then it's also a transformation from telling people to touching. And it takes more work to kind of come up with how do we actually bring people into our story. So our challenge, from my perspective, is to create communities of informed, engaged, enthusiastic participants, which there are a few in the audience that can attest to that, because we have this really great adventure, and humans in space and robots in space is this incredible adventure. So there's just kind of no downside to that. Although I talk to people who haven't caught the vision yet, so we have work to do. You might see Timmy in that picture, right up at the very top. This is one of our jump pictures, and I believe this is from 132, our tweet of it at STS 132. And back in the back here is one of our Vega shuttles, which are all going to be viewed more closely on ground now.
But the tweet-ups was an opportunity for us to let people, behind the curtain to come and engage with us. And one of the keys to having a really successful experience is to give people really good information, bring in great speakers, and give them something to touch and feel. And at one of our first tweet-ups, we actually brought in like bolts and things that had been, you were there. At each table, we had something to play with that had been in space, and it was fun for us. We see this stuff all the time, we in the space industry. But those who don't, be able to touch a discarded bolt that popped off when the shuttle, leaves it, that's just cool. Doesn't sound cool, but it really is when you start touching it. I've even touched aerogels, so to me, I don't do the science side, so it was so cool to hold aerogel and take pictures with it. So it's letting us kind of be free with our inner child. So this is just a quote I found. It talks about it's much more important to discover than to be told. I don't like people to tell me what I'm supposed to like or what I'm supposed to do or how I'm supposed to think. That actually really irritates me. And anyone who knows me, if you want me to do the opposite, tell me what to do, I'll do the opposite. So I knowing that about me, I know others are like me, and I like to find ways to let people discover themselves. So a few just rules of engagement that I've learned personally is be relevant, be authentic, be unique, be innovative, and be humble. And have fun. Because it's really obvious in the social media world, people who are not enjoying themselves and they've been forced to tweet because someone told them to. But the other thing that's cool about that, we actually did at NASA. Our public affairs officers were forced to tweet, and at first they were very, very fussy, and within a week, it's like they were totally addicted. So it kind of grows on you. So the other thing is social media is just today's way to communicate. I'm always looking for what's tomorrow's way, because I've been using social media since 2007, so there's a lot more out there. So I think our challenge also is to find some trend spotters, to surround ourselves with trend spotters, which I try to do with the young pups, as I call them, at NASA. And I love people to bring me great new things that I hadn't seen, and then I get to play with them. So always be looking forward. There's always something out there for you to engage with. And I believe that's it. And you can follow me on Twitter at Becker. Thank you.
We're just going to grab that mic for the panel. Okay, so I've been involved or engaged in Twitter since I guess 2008, actually on Valentine's Day, and my take on it is obviously I think it's like critical in terms of how we engage people, and it's a great medium. I'm more of a broadcaster, but in terms of the content I push out there, because to me it's like a personal diary. So I think everyone has to have their own use for it and how they connect with it. And I'm Ryan Inspace, in case you're wondering, and that's because of pigs in space. So I thought that was a cool website idea for before I went up to the Arctic, and then that ended up becoming my Twitter handle. So these things like become our kind of overarching secondary names or another personality sometimes, and they really tie together a lot of different things. So you start picking up every kind of medium out there, you've tagged your name to it. So we're going to do a few quick moderated questions before we open it up to the audience. I guess the kind of the first obvious question is, who helps you? Who else helps you behind the stage? We have ThinkGeek up here with 500,000 followers, and so when you're here, which monkeys are helping you out?
We don't normally tweet on the weekends. That has changed recently with a Saturday t-shirt program. We're launching limited edition shirts, so that's changed a little bit. For us, most of what we do in terms of tweet volume is customer service. So if we just auto-tweeted something at 5 a.m. or something, there would be the indication that we're present and there to help. So I'm trying not to do that so much, and I do have one assistant who helps during the week.
And similar question for everyone, of course, and Bryce addressed it for Yuri's night.
We have a variety of people, and it's parts of people. So I do some, my staff do some. We have folks in our customer service that help out, and more people are getting involved, like the public observatory educators and And we're trying to twist the arms of our curators, who some of which are on Twitter but aren't actually tweeting for the museum quite yet, but we'll get there.
I already mentioned a great team of people for Yuri's night, but I guess for the NSS, I also want to make sure to give a shout out to Marianne Dyson and Tim Bailey, who have both been helping out with our social media for NSS, especially on Twitter.
So at NASA, we have tons of accounts and I've lost track, but the at NASA account itself is manned by our Office of Communication, and all of the public affairs officers are required to tweet and post on Facebook and now G+. So they use for Twitter co-tweet, and then you can kind of track who has tweeted what, which is really nice. In Facebook, you can't. And I actually worked with a team of people to start the NASA Facebook account. Once we hit 200,000 followers, then we transferred it over to public affairs. But the thing about Facebook and all those, you really can't see who tweeted and who posted. And it's kind of hard if someone, has a typo and you don't really know who it was that did it, to track it down and see what it really was. But it is a team effort, and for an organization as large as NASA, we have a lot of Twitter accounts. And just another comment, there are a lot of people who would say you really just need one account. I have a different perspective, because if I'm just interested in solar dynamics, I may not want to read I have to wade through all of the at NASA tweets to get to my SDO tweets. So I think there is a reason to have a balanced kind of portfolio of your social media, just so people can find what they're looking for in their little niche.
Yeah, Smithsonian's that way. We have lots of niche accounts, not just one.
As far as Google Lunar X Prize goes, with all of our online accounts, it's run by one person. That person now is someone named Leo Camacho, and he just started a couple months ago. He's actually out doing some filming today, so that's why he's not here. I occasionally fill in for him if he's not there, but he's the one who's fielding everybody else's comments if you're talking to Google Lunar X Prize online. We also have what we like to call the GLXP ambassadors. They're kind of like super fans of Google Lunar X Prize, so they really help us evangelize. One of them is Mike Dornbos. He follows our competition very closely. He makes really cool infographics on his website called eva.com, and he just is very involved with our competition. And then our 26 teams, depending on the size of their audiences, they usually have one embedded public outreach liaison, it's called. So one person, I think there's 21 of our teams right now who are on like Facebook and Twitter. Only one of our teams has like a social media team. That's the part-time scientists, and they have a very large following. And the way that they kind of sort out who's tweeting is they just put the first and last initials of the person at the very end of their tweets, so people know who they're talking to, so everyone knows they're still talking to a human and which one it is.